Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Just give me a second while I put the link into the Discord for everyone to join, and then we'll get started. So just give me a sec. Let's see if that works. Hopefully it does. Just give it a couple of minutes for people to join, and then we'll take it from there. But yeah, welcome to the stream. Cotton Ghost, how we doing? Welcome to the stream. We're just going to kind of go over a few things. Like in the Discord earlier on today, I was going to last night have a little bit more time to sort of backtest and sort of dive deeper into the strategy as such. But I was kind of short on time with the football being on because I kind of wanted to watch the football. But yeah, what I've done is I allocated a little bit of time today to kind of see what we can do with this strategy. And you know, one of the things, I did change one very simple thing. So the logic's the exact same as what it was before, but it's more of a filter to kind of get rid of getting in straightly, like jumping the gun. Like sometimes the Bollinger Band Breakout, we could jump the gun without actually analyzing anything properly. So what I did is change a few things, which we're going to run through in a minute. But I got it working on pound yen, and then I've got a variation that it's made new all-time highs just recently, which is brilliant. And yeah, it's actually quite interesting in the end of what has actually come of it. So right now, all you're going to see, this is just a test on NASDAQ at the moment, because I wanted to see quickly before I jumped on, which, you know, I was in a bit of a rush to see if it worked on another asset. And the first thing that come to mind was, okay, this is like a long-only sort of strategy that we've built here. What could it naturally work on? And obviously, you know, what is a long-only sort of asset? Indices. I know obviously they can go down, but like for the long term, they're obviously going to the upside. So I want to quickly do a test on it and see. And so far, it's looking actually really good. So after this test is complete, well, we'll just probably let that run. How long we got left on it? Just another year. So we'll wait until this is finished. We'll have a look at the stats. Then what I'll do is I'll go back onto FX Dreamer and I'll show you exactly what I did different. It'll be very surprising how simple it is. But again, it is a subtle change that is filtering out false signals essentially, which is from a breakout perspective, what we're trying to make sure we're not getting involved in. Like, for breakouts, you know, breakouts happen all the time, but there's a lot of false signals as well. So what we want to do is kind of make sure we're not getting involved in those false signals. And not getting involved in false signals can be very simple, depending on what sort of strategy that you're building. So yeah, we'll jump in that in a sec. We can see that it's starting to tail off as soon as we get to 2025. But again, everything else is looking pretty good overall from a strategy point of view. Quickly looking at the back test. Again, not many trades, but as I said, I found a way to kind of just filter out taking too many trades because we already knew that the strategy had an edge essentially over the long run. Over the past 2 years, it wasn't so good, but over the long run, it was not bad. And what I can see here is it's actually pretty good. Like, that is a seriously good profit factor and a really good return to drawdown at risking 1% per trade. So I'll probably do some more work on this over the week in my free time, and we'll probably get this on the charity Darwin, to be honest, because we don't have anything. I don't think we do have anything on NASDAQ at the moment, but it is looking not too bad. And again, if we look at the settings, I've just simply just taken what we were doing last week and applied it to a different asset. So yeah, what I'm going to do quickly is just run the test on pound yen just to show you. I did put something in the Discord, but we're going to change it slightly. So what I did is I changed to see the period, and I seen if it worked across a range. I think I got that here. Yep. So what I did is looked at across a range from a period of 80 to 120 to see, okay, where are we seeing a tail off, or is it at a good robust area? Apart from 80, 100, 110, 20, 90, 100, all looked pretty good around the same sort of drawdown-ish to return ratio, which was not too bad. But again, I'm just going to stick with the 100 because it is the best result, but it is in between like what the safe region is. So we can see 90 is still safe, 80 is where it kind of tails off. again, the returns are still there. It's just not as good as the rest. But if we move up to, say, the 110, returns are pretty stable. 120 returns are pretty stable. So we could choose 100 or 110. Just for the sake, we'll choose 100. Let me just run this. While this is running, we'll jump onto FX Dreamer and I'll show you what is different. Ignore that. Okay, I'm going to take this side out. So this is just the next version that we're going to test, potentially looking at the short side, but I'm going to turn that off and that off. So ignore these two things on the right here. They're completely off, so we don't need to look at them at the moment. We're just going to look at this part. This is the long only sort of system here. And you'll see it is slightly different. Again, you'll see me use variables a lot because it's just, for me, it's bread and butter for what I do with a lot of the systems. I like to apply variable because then I like to save the value. So before we had, before, I'll just quickly get to it, we had something along the lines of this. So yesterday, this is what the condition was here. Once per bar, no position. If the candle closes above the upper band of 1, so the last candle is above, but the candle before is below, confirming that it's just the recent sort of close and breakout, then we would buy. So that's all well and good, but it means that we're taking every single time that there's a candle close above the Bollinger Band after the new breakouts happened. So what I wanted to do was kind of see, okay, how do we make sure that we're getting in continuous momentum, essentially? So what I did instead was, right, okay, rather than just buy blindly, like after the close, like we have confirmed that we've moved into sort of like maybe potentially a sort of trend, how can we sort of only get involved if we see a continuation of that? So we're still going to use the same two conditions, but what I've done is I've made like a buy and sell. We don't really need the sell at the moment, just the buy variable here. And what I do is I put them in here, so I'm always, every single bar, resetting these values to 0, so then we're always taking a new value. So once per bar, we're setting the buy, just ignore the sell for now, we're setting the buy to 0. If there's no position, and we've recently closed above the upper band for the last candle and below the upper band for the candle previously, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the high as a variable. Now, the way what I was saying just a minute ago is we're going to take trades only confirm when momentum's there. If you haven't guessed so far, we're taking the high, obviously, but what we're going to do is wait for the next candle for momentum to cross through the high of the last candle. So sometimes what you'll see is it'll close above the Bollinger Band and it might happen a straight reversal straight away. Obviously, that's another trading system in itself. We could trade the reversal, but we're looking for the breakout. So in order for us to make sure we're not getting involved in that reversal, if it does happen, we're only going to get involved in trades when it does break through the high of the last bar to confirm we're going higher. So again, market value bid. I always use bid over ask, just because sometimes, like if the spread widens, spread could wide, tap you in, and it's not actually crossed that sort of value or area. So I'll just use the bid. It might mean that potentially you're getting in a little bit afterwards. But if you're getting a little bit afterwards and you're still seeing profitable values, then I don't see that as a problem at all. So yeah, when the bid crosses above the buy, this is something that I do just to make sure, because sometimes when you use the cross, if there is, like, say, a tick value of a gap that gaps above, then it might not get you in the trade. So this just guarantees that you're getting in the trade for this sort of condition. There is times that you'll not use this. But in this case, I'm going to use it because we're looking on a lower time frame. It's only when you start to get to taking values from the daily or something like that, and you have this condition going, you don't know what's going to happen over the weekend. You could get a gap up, then you wouldn't use this sort of situation. But that's a lot more advanced for something that we're going to go over today. That's for, if you're wanting to be nitty gritty about your systems. So let's say you've got a really good system that's live, and you'll see maybe sometimes if you use this sort of concept that it might gap up and you're still taking the gap up rather than your entry level. That's where you then change this to make sure you're saving other variables. So that's going to be a bit too complicated for today. I'm just wanting to keep these sessions as simple as possible so people can kind of go along with this, build them yourselves, and test for yourselves as well. Actually, I realized that I should be making this a lot bigger so that everyone can see it. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So I'll just go over this one more time so that people can actually see, just in case this it wasn't too clear on the screens. Once per bar, we're moving the variable from buy to 0. No position. The candle close of candle ID 1, so that's the last candle that's just closed, is above the Bollinger Band, period, standard deviation, upper band, again, candle ID 1. Candle ID 2 close is below the upper band. I wish I had TradingView integrated into this sort of machine, but I don't, because I'm just using parallels here to show you this, because I use a Mac. But yeah. Hi Blaine, is using this style of code an expert just a personal preference? I'm wondering, can you just provide the description to LLM and get an MQ5 that works? So I just prefer to do this this way, because at least I know what sort of what's happening at each part, and then this is all generated into MQL5 code itself. You could feed it into an LLM, but then I would be more inclined to make sure that I'm going over the code. Obviously, when you compose the file, you want to make sure there's no warnings and no errors anyway. I just like doing it peace of mind, that I can then afterwards I can apply lots of different sort of money management features. I can apply some sort of fail safe in here as well. So I can apply a lot more risk management stuff to my systems live than what maybe an LLM can do, because again, you're just basing it on the fact that you are hoping that it does everything that you say. So yeah, personal preference for me using something like this or Perfectus. I've tried and tested it for years. Both of them I've tried and tested. Both work fantastic. So it's all personal preference in my eyes. So yeah. Hey, have you changed anything since yesterday? Yes, I have changed something from yesterday. So just watch along. Or if you want this source code, like if the MQL5 file that you can import yourself into MetaTrader or FXstream, just give me a DM on Discord and I'll send you over. I don't mind sharing projects like this for you guys to maybe have a look at. Or actually, no, I'm just going to put this MQL5 file in the Discord after the session, so people can download it and use it for whatever you want, so you can have a look at what it is. So yeah, I'll do that after this session, so then you can follow along and have a look to see if they've changed anything from last time, or just rewatch the video. Either way. So where was I? Sorry, I got distracted there by the question. So I think I was explaining this. So yeah, once the conditions are met, we're then saving the candle high as a variable. And then basically what we're doing is saving that. Yeah, we're saving that value as a variable. So we're always kind of waiting and save that. We're then going to wait for the market properties bid price to cross that variable. So the candle high, we're waiting for price to cross it. And then after that, we're just buying. And it's very important when you use variables and loops like this, that we then reset these values to 0. Okay, because if we buy and we've not changed these values, it means every single tick that we have moving up is going to take another trade. But then again, we do. So this is just another failsafe that I put in. We do have the no position, but what it would mean is if that hits stop loss and again it just moved up, again we're taking the exact same position after a loss. It's just going to keep getting in and out of trades. So this is very essential to have this sort of variable set to 0. So it only goes again once per bar, because let's say you have NFP that happens, right? Price can move so fast up and down. So you could be taking in you could be in a trade, stop loss. Then it's still set at the same candle high, in a trade, stop loss. So if you know what I mean, if you get what I'm saying, it just adds another sort of layer to yeah, it is the dog tie, My dog's got used to it, surprisingly, so he doesn't react now to that noise. But yeah, this is essentially just a double sort of safe way of keeping things safe in my eyes, and that's the most important thing. At the end of the day, as traders, we're risk managers first, and don't ever forget that. So if you can preserve capital first, think about gains secondly. That's the way that I think about it. As long as I know that I am not going to get myself exposed to higher risk or more trades than I should do, I'm happy at the end of the day. Obviously, we want returns, but I would rather protect the downside rather than focus on, okay, let's have another like 5-to-1 trade or something like that. So I'm always focused on making sure that the systems are safe first, and then we build out from there. So yeah, that's essentially the simple system. Again, we're going to go back to the MetaTrader chart, and what I did is I run the exact that system now on the 1 hour chart again, which we seen yesterday. If we remember yesterday, we got a very choppy chart that it was only working in this period here, where it wasn't before, where this is now making all-time highs probably just in the last couple of weeks, actually. So this system would have made new all-time highs in the last couple of weeks. Again, I'm not too happy with the how sort of zigzaggy it is. When we look at the metrics, it's a 1.27 profit factor. So for me, it's not something I would be trading live at the minute. But we do have quite a lot of trades over that period, which is decent. Win rate is at 38.64%, which is low, kind of low, especially for a 1-to-2 system. So there's definitely some work that maybe needs done. But again, this is just a flat 1-to-2 system. We've not looked at adding any sort of management. No sort of as much as buying the cross it's not a filter. Again, that's just pure. This is pure entry model. So from an entry model perspective, it's pretty good. And what we would do is, what I like to do is to analyze it trade by trade. So rather than watch it, you can watch the trade by trade. I'll then come to this chart and see, okay, is there anything that we've missed here that it could be worthwhile trading? Okay, so let me just zoom in and I'll walk you through it. So again, we're only taking the trade breakout. We could, however, delay it. So we could wait for, if there's not a breakout over the past 5 hours, then we then close. But this is just waiting for the follow through instantly. So sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it's not. Again, you can see that the slippage there. We got slipped quite hard there to take that trade, which is going to happen sometimes because we're waiting for obviously the bid. That's quite a bit above. So what we're seeing here is the loss was below the highest high. So maybe the filter would be we're only taking the trades if the high of the last candle is the highest high over the past 100 bars. So we're not taking one that's below. We're only taking ones where it's a high, like this one, like this one. So that's maybe something we can have a look at. Again, yeah, this is going to be fine because this is the highest high. Again, it's a loss. Maybe that's the filter to get rid of the losses. That's possible as well. So again, we can then, when we analyze it and we look at it in the charts, we can really dissect into, is there anything that we can see that's a common occurrence that we could filter out ourselves? Again, a loss where it's the highest high. This one was not the highest high. So again, we'll keep looking. So the slippage on some of these trades is quite high. But that's fine because I think what we're running the delay on, yeah, we're running it on 100. So normally what I like to do to make sure that we're kind of making sure it's profitable, in reality, I'm not getting 100 millisecond delay. So maybe that's why, it's probably why you're seeing a lot bigger jumps. My VPS runs, I think it's 5 or 10 millisecond delay. So it's not too bad for execution. So even if we've got the latency 10 times, I like to see, is there do we still have an edge? because sometimes some systems will be very dependent on getting in at that exact price. So that's quite interesting as well. So yeah, going back to, again, I'm just going to quickly go through these charts and see, is there anything I can see that's common occurrence? Is there anything that we can potentially add or adapt? So then we're kind of filtering out some of the trades. You could blindly just test loads of indicators or just assume things, but I always think that first and foremost, if you're a trader, you can look at the markets yourself and make an assumption on what might be a good filter or what might stop you taking too many trades, or there's, again, let your creativity flow when it comes to these sort of things. As long as you're not kind of like overfitting, what I'm looking for here is just one rule to apply. I'm not like, okay, if this is this and this is this and this is this, if you keep adding and adding and adding and adding, that's when the over optimization happens. So all I'm trying to look for is like a general rule of like applying one sort of filter. Does it improve the strategy? Does it take less trades and make sure that we're not getting involved when we shouldn't be? So that's the sort of thing that I'm looking for when I'm looking at the charts. It can take a little bit longer. Obviously, if you, like, for instance, like on this one, we've got 300 trades to potentially go through. It is worth taking the time. If you're seeing early on common occurrences, that's good. But also remember that if you don't see anything in the first year or second year, that's possible as well, especially with currencies, because we're going through, like, currencies like can recycle through so many different market like regimes, or like, we can go from trending to flat periods. So you are going to see a variation, especially when it comes to currencies, for trying to find filters. I find it harder to find filters for currencies than what we would potentially, for instance, if you just had any sort of buy and hold sort of system in gold over the past 2 years with a sort of moving average pointing in the direction up, you're all good, essentially. But currencies, we do whiplash up and down quite a lot dependent on the pair. So I do like to stick to, with my trend following or sort of breakouts, I do like to stick towards like the yen sort of heavy pairs. But again, what I do like to do is obviously add diversification through other assets as well. So I do have breakouts and other things. It's just they'll trade a lot less depending on when the volatility is there. Yeah, I'll be sharing the files into the Discord, so don't worry, you'll get this file in the Discord. So don't worry about that. Again, one thing that we can see here, like this one to me is like completely obvious. Like, what direction are we moving in here? We're moving completely to the downside. It's an obvious heavy downside. We're taking a buy here. So maybe that's where we're looking at, okay, if it's below the 200 moving average on the daily, then we're not looking. But then again, we just said that the other counteract to that is we just took a win there and a win there when we're probably going to be below the moving average. Let me just apply moving average so then we can have a quick look. Again, you can actually, this is a good thing within MetaTrader. Again, like rather than go back, you could actually just put a visual gauge in to see if this is something that could be working. And moving average, we could do a 200. Let's just do a 500 because that's in a longer period because we're looking at the 1 hour. Yeah. So even with a 500 moving average, this would be taken and these trades would be missed here. So in this area, it doesn't look too logical. Again, you want to kind of look at it over the bigger time horizon. So you could either do it above or below, or you could have two moving averages, and you could say like when the middle Bollinger Band, like the baseline is below the moving average, then we're in a bearish sort of area. If it's above the moving average, then we're in a bullish sort of area. That's, there's so many different ways that you could look at this as well. I mean, every EA as well as this one, or sorry, what do you mean? But yeah, again, just having a quick look. But I'm not going to bore you by just completely looking at this chart the whole time. We're going to move on to the NASDAQ because that was quite interesting as well. But we could essentially try and apply something for this potentially. But yeah, this is something that, again, could take hours to try and find something that's going to be make this working a bit better. Yeah, one thing that I would say is don't expect when you're building systems or portfolios that are going to be sort of good, robust, things like that, they don't come within an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. A lot of them can take quite a while to like get something good. I mean, obviously, there's going to be some edges that you get that are going to be really good instantly, and they are tradable, but for the most part, to get different systems every time that are doing different things, that's where it gets a bit hard. So, I had my general ideas when I first started, had some good systems that were, the first, like I would say, couple of months, I was getting some good systems. But then after that, things start to like fade out a bit, and there is a lot more research and development that goes into it, because there is a lot less. Like once you've applied some basic theory, then it gets harder and harder to find new ideas that are different, that are completely uncorrelated to what I've got today. But the good thing is we've got that many resources, books. You can just instantly put like one thing that I've recently done is I downloaded all the books I had and put it into Google Notebook LM. Kieran recommended me Notebook LM. And what I did is I got it to then take everything from the source and then just say, okay, tell me the rules to all the trading strategies in this book. And what that gave me is a list of rules and strategies to build that then I can go and test it on every market. So if you want to be, I mean, I wouldn't say it's lazy, but if you want to have like a head start on these sort of things, then it is beneficial to use something like that to get the ideas there straight away, because you could then take 30 or 40 books and instantly you've got 100 different ideas on paper, so yeah, that's definitely a recommendation. I mean, every year you build for so what I'll do is every single time I build one on this live right now, I'll then put it into I will not share the actual code of what my final product is for the charity Darwin, because we want that specifically for the charity Darwin. But what I'll do is I'll share the actual ground-based work. So like, for instance, like I'll share the source code for this build here exactly. So, you've got the base model, but what I will tell you is everything that I give you here, what I then develop will be based on that base model. So I might apply things that are very unique and specific to it. I'll not share that because unfortunately, if I share all my knowledge, then it sounds quite bad, but there's not. It's not beneficial for me if I share what I do in every single strategy, because we want to keep our good strategies. That's one thing I would recommend. If you have a good strategy, keep it to yourself. But again, we might, on these live streams, we might come across great strategies, and that is sort of the risk I'm taking. But it's also, I think, really beneficial for everyone on the streams here, that they can potentially see me in a live situation, build a strategy from scratch. We take it to something that is potentially good, and you guys can then use it as well or develop it into your own ideas as well. Blayn, can you share examples of sources of trading ideas? You mentioned some books. Yeah. So what I'll do is actually I'll share my whole resource thing in the Discord again, so it's there to be found, because I did do one about a month ago. So in Notebook LM you can put in these websites that then have all these strategies that then you can build. Books wise, Kevin Davey has quite a lot of good books that have a lot of like good trading ideas. Toby Crable, like if you can get your hands on his book, supposedly bought all of them back, but I can tell you it's still possible to get your hands on some of those. Trying to get those sort of systems working. Some work very well, some don't work as well now. You got Rob Cav. I'm gonna have to Google how to say his name. He's doing a seminar soon. I'm just gonna type in Rob Trader. What's his name? Rob Carver, I think his name is. Like, he shares quite a lot as well in terms of entry models. But yeah, just anything that you can get your hands on, put it in LLM, get the strategies, build them yourself. You know, a lot of it most of these strategies that are shared are all entries. So don't be disheartened if you go through 100 of them and none of them are like crazy good results. I think at the end of the day, it's not about getting the holy grail system. It's about putting multiple edges together in a portfolio at a low risk sort of way that you're taking advantage of all these small edges. Because, you know, what you want to do is you want to see a large sample size where you're actually winning over the long run. The lower you risk, the larger sample size you can have and make better assumptions as well. So, you know, one of my goals is to get to the point where I've got so many systems, all running at seriously low risk. And, you know, what I want, what I'd probably want to do is probably hire someone to just be a data analyst, just analyzing all the magic numbers and all the sort of things to make sure that they're all going together with what the reports and the historics and whatever I set all these individual strategies, max drawdown, stagnation periods, to maybe look at reviewing them or changing them as well. So that's the stage that I want to get to. Long way away, but I'd love to have that operation like a proper hedge fund or quant fund. That, you know, we've got that many things running. For one individual person, it's going to be an eyesore. But what we're doing is we're stacking so many different edges that are, you know, as uncorrelated as possible with such a low risk model that then we are just playing a numbers game essentially, like probabilities. Because at the end of the day, that's basically what data-driven models are. It's statistical analysis that we are anticipating that over the next 100,000 trades, we're all going to be making roughly, give or take, about the same sort of risk to return sort of values. It will be very different year on year, but if we get something within, because I do a low risk, it means that I'm not seeing as big noise. Everything's like kind of closed, so it all kind of almost gets about the same sort of thing. For ideas, I like Kevin Davies' books. Yeah, Kevin Davies' books are really good for a starting point. For just building some systems. You know, one of the YouTube channels I think we went over was Peak Algo Research, just using LLM to basically tell you exactly what the rules are. Obviously, a lot of these channels are all trading futures, so do not expect to get the same result on your CFDs backtests. But that's another area that hopefully in the live streams you'll see me reach into, because I'm wanting to sort of start using futures as well, just to see the difference between CFDs and futures. So that could be quite interesting as well. Is there a way to make an EA where every time I try the trade, you see the comment on the terminal? You can build stuff like on the terminal here that will tell you. You can make a whole dashboard to tell you how many trades you've taken, how many, you know, your profit factor, your Sortino, Sharp. Like it's very customizable like MQL5 for what you can build and create like a sort of recording center as you wish. You can do it in FX Dreamer, but again, yeah, Quantum Ghost, as Quantum Ghost says, you know, use like Claude or something like that to build that sort of terminal. What you can do is MQL5 have a full big like PDF on everything you need to know on how to actually use and utilize MQL5. So you can put that again into a notebook LLM and ask it to only use from the source and build you that source code. So that's another little hack that potentially you could use as well. Okay, we're getting miles off the whole topic as well, but yeah, could be quite interesting to try a few more things on this. But what I'm going to do is we're going to focus on NASDAQ, because that's what I'm looking at today, and I want to potentially see can we get this on the chart of Darwin. Like there might be a few things that change. But we're just going to see across different periods. So we'll try from 2020 to 200. Do we need to change this? No, we'll not change that. We'll do different standard deviations. Okay, why is that not working? Again, we'll go up to like 4 or something like that. So how many tests we're going to get? 40 out of that. And what I'm going to try and see is where is there an area where like it's close. So I think that last one was 100 period, 2 standard deviation. How far would, like, when we change the standard deviation or period, are we off those results? If we're not very far off the results with like this sort of overall, with this sort of optimization, then we know we potentially got an entry on NASDAQ that has been pretty robust over the past 7 to 8 years. So this can be quite interesting to sort of find. While that's, sorry, 2 seconds, this will just take a little while to, yeah, it's almost frozen. So I'll just need to let my computer just give it 30 seconds. Yeah, let me just make sure that this does run. As soon as I see this running, then we can potentially just look at some sources. Maybe it's not wanting to run some sources. Maybe this is running too much on optimization at the moment while I'm streaming. So let me just stop this. If it's, yeah, this is froze. Right. Okay. Good. Oh, no, it's really good. Right. Let's just go in stages of 40. 200, because then that's just going to be 5. What we're going to see, it'll be a bit big, but what I want to see is, if we're 40 either side, so this will show us 20 on either side of 100, like how are the results still. So this will be quite interesting. Okay. So let's see. Algo trading books. And again, all you can do is go through, read some reviews, see if it actually gives you anything. If you can find it free online, it's up to you what you take. But again, you can just like research any sort of book. Kevin Davies are really good. He's got quite a few. How many books does Kevin Davies have? This is really going slow, and I think it's because I'm running a test. Or my internet's sort of dipping. It dipped. My internet dipped this morning, and it was terrible. And I tried to get an extender set up, but it was just a nightmare. Okay. Don't know what happened there. Maybe it's not going to work. No. Sorry, don't know what's going on here at the moment. It normally works perfectly fine, but maybe not today. Let me disable that. So we're only running the 2 cores. It'll probably take a little bit longer, but at least we're not utilizing all the power. All right. Okay, Savvy, David Books. Let's see how many he's got. Okay. For some reason, I don't think it's this guy. Okay. don't know why mine is really lagging today. Can I still get on that? Yeah. Okay. Apologies about this. It shouldn't. It wasn't lagging yesterday when we were running tests, but again, I think it's just the internet connection today. Okay, that's a bit better. Okay, so yeah, you've got Entries and Exits, Confession of a Champion Trader. This is a pretty good book for getting entries and exits. Again, he's got so many other different ones as well. They are quite expensive, but I'm pretty sure there's a way of getting free copies on his own website as well. So, or even reaching out to Kevin as well. So you can always reach out to Kevin as well. So yeah, he's got a lot of good books as well. The other person was Rob. Yeah. So he has a blog as well. You know, he's got loads of books, loads of experience. And again, we've got this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So he has a lot of good things as well. He has a lot of good blogs as well that you can take things from. So another good resource for that. Again, quantify strategies. Quantified strategies, they do have some free ones in there, although quite basic, some of them, but really good to, again, build ideas from. You could just plug this page into like Notebook LM and ask it to pull free strategies for you. Again, works pretty well. And then the other one is obviously Oxford Strat, if it wants to. Again, Max from Perfectus shared this one years and years ago, but another good one as well. Loads of different systems in here. So there, you know, as I said, like you could just spend the next best part of a year going through all these systems, building them, testing the different markets, trying different things as well. So, you know, again, you'll never run out of ideas. Again, you can also create, like Larry Williams, again, another person that he's got lots of books on, and you can build so many different strategies as well. I think it was Toby Crable, not Toby's Carvery, Toby Crable. Again, this person has like a massive quantitative trading firm. Some of you guys will know him, but you can find. You could find his book online to get a lot of the strategies, although it is like a really, really old book from, looks like it's from the 90s, maybe before then, because it's horrible writing. But again, another good source to get some good strategies from. So like most of the things, like you'll test loads of different entries. Like for instance, this one, very simple one. If no one's ever looked at a Smash Day by Larry Williams, it's a very simple strategy. Basically, what it's doing is for a buy, when the close is below yesterday's low, we then take the buy stop order of the high. Again, the opposite for the sell. When the high, when the close is above the high of yesterday, then we're doing a sell stop at the low. So these again are entries that you can test, and you know what you could do is you could then have these entries as, you know, test the entry for what it is, or you could use this in conjunction with where you might see there's an absolute massive edge. So, for instance, on something like Aussie against Canadian dollar, you might say when it's an overbought area, then we apply this entry. And then what you could do is you can see if there is an edge within that sort of like overbought or oversold areas, and from there you can build strategies as well. So yeah, there's so many different things that you can do and test. You'll never run out of ideas. You know, another thing you could do is when price closes below the past 100-day bars, then you can take the smash pattern for like a reversal, or you could do, hypothetically, let's say you're doing a trend following system, We're in a bullish trend. We've seen a 3-day pullback. Then you apply the smash day pattern for your entry. So there's so many different. There's just loads of different ideas that you guys can potentially go and test and take away. So like that's what I mean. Like once you start researching, thinking of like researching all these sort of things, you'll never really run out of ideas. There's just too much to test. And it really is a race to sort of test everything that you can do, build everything that you can do, because there's going to be so many things that do work that sound simple, but yeah, well worth sort of testing. This is taking a little bit longer than I anticipated, but you know, once we've got to the 50%, we'll get to see 2 of the results, and we'll take it from there. Time's fine. That's quarter two already. Maybe for now, we'll have a quick look at what the market's doing. It is meant to be more often than not a sort of, what do we call it? Let me just go trading view. Can we see this in the chart? Yeah, we can also. We'll just have a quick look at the markets because it's meant to be a market overview on a Wednesday, but as I always say, like I'm not an analyst in any way when it comes to the markets. Okay, interesting. So what we see today, what's oil doing? So oil's actually down today. That's interesting. It's up miles yesterday. Start to see a pullback on US dollar yen. Whether that continues, another thing. Again, hands yen a bit choppy at the moment. Euro dollar, way to swing that low. So again, like here's an example of where it could be quite interesting to test a smash day. We have not closed below the low, right? But we've swept the low from the past. Was that 150 bars? We could then see how often than not if the smash day pattern works for a reversal. You know, there's another idea of something that you can test just based on smash bars and in general for how to sort of like put them together in a sort of strategy. Oil is a massively gap, but it'd be interesting to see what actually happens. Like I've not really kept up too much with the news as of the past 24 hours, but pretty crazy what's going on at the moment in the world. Euro yen, nothing. Pound dollar. I mean, yeah, so maybe we do start seeing a reversal in pound dollar, but again, I don't really know. There was a massive sell-off yesterday in the German DAX. We're starting to see a little bit of a recovery. Interesting. Gold. Again, I was interested to see if it actually closed below there yesterday. It's kind of held, so interesting. Again, sort of swung. So here's where a smash day could have worked today. We've swept that last like low here, the swing low, and we've been taking the breakout here of the smash day. So look, there's again another example of what I just went over for like a trade idea that could be tested and built. Again, the exact same thing's happening here. We've swept probably the last 40 bars. Could take smash day higher. So that's something that's maybe interesting to try on indices. You know, when we're past the low of the past X amount of bars and to smash back up to the upside. Again, nothing much going on there. I mean, I could draw a load of lines on the charts, but it'll mean nothing. It'll mean nothing because I'm not really. You know, it's weird because obviously I used to look at the charts 24/7 for like 2-3 years, and trade like every 4 hours. But like for the past 3 years, I've just not placed a manual trade and not needed to. Okay, Ethereum starting to make a little bit of a comeback. Okay, this is the only thing that I think I've drawn on lately because I was picking in areas to where to start dollar cost averaging back into Ethereum. So I've obviously missed that in the past couple of weeks. So maybe I need to start buying. But yeah, there's no point me really going over that because I'm not really an analyst as such. Claude is rubbish. Quantum. Okay. Keep on clicking off it. I don't know why it's been really slow. Okay, whoa. So that is really interesting. So before, obviously, we were taking like the 100 period of the 2 standard deviation, where this is taking 40 period. So this is really taking a lot more trades, but the return is pretty crazy. So maybe what we'll do is we'll focus on like a lower period with NASDAQ, because this looks quite interesting in terms of results. But again, what we'll do is, I don't know if it's worthwhile doing it on the stream today, because again, it seems to be running slow anytime I do a stream. Because I don't think my internet speed today has been terrible. This week's just been terrible in general. Let me do a speed test. It's meant to be like 500, but 500 megabits, but oh no, it is. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Don't know why the stream's so bad, because my upload's 170 as well. So yeah, I don't know why. Saying cause other guys say cause misleading me many times. Okay, no worries. So this will be really interesting to see what sort of result. Like, we already kind of know what sort of result. Interesting. I moved completely from ChatGPT and I have a relief. Yeah, I mean, I use different ones. Like, I'll use Gemini, Notebook LM, and other things as well. So yeah. The problem you have with a lot of them is, like, if it doesn't have an answer, it'll go searching for it rather than take it from the source. So yeah, that's why I try and use Notebook LM. So what's quite good about this result is we've got 530 trades. So maybe from this result, we could look at areas of interest that maybe we're looking at hours. So we might specifically only trade a certain session. So this could be quite interesting, because 500 trades is enough to maybe split it into a session if there's something very obvious. So maybe, no, don't know. Come on, stupid computer. Right, there we go. Put core analyzer just so we've got this test ready and we can have a little analyzing to it. But so far it's looking pretty good on the NAS. So far looking pretty good on the NAS. So if we get if this like, I'm not expecting the profit factor to be massive or anything like that on this, but if we can find something within this area to potentially trade this system on the charity Darwin, that can be really cool. Yeah, so I'll probably work on this over the weekend or something like that. So then we've got potentially new strategy for the charity Darwin from next week. I'll share the results, and obviously you guys will have the source code in the Discord for this sort of strategy that you can get this. You can actually get this result now on this based on just the basic source file. So that'll be quite interesting. Apologies if you hear a dog barking in the background. Does anyone took this strategy from yesterday, built it yourselves and test and anything for yourselves? I know Raplas did yesterday, tested it for himself as well, but has anyone else tested it themselves or built anything similar to this? Just using basic MT5, nothing crazy. Once this is done, we'll take it into, just gotta get that up. Has anyone got a strategy idea that potentially they want built on the live session? Because that's something I'm always happy to potentially try and build something that someone's having difficulty with, as long as it's not going to take me an hour or 2 hours to build. Because some systems do take a lot longer to build than others. I will say that. 330 is going to be the result roughly. So my guess is in 2025 it maybe drops out a little bit, which is kind of been expected because it's changed a little bit in the way it's played. Again, results are looking really strong. Just from an entry perspective, results are looking really strong so far. So this must hit a 10% drawdown coming. Maybe more than 10% drawdown. Whoa. I don't really have any that are as good as my breakout systems. I just find breakout systems are a lot easier to build and capitalize on because they happen quite like when a breakout happens, you can capture a lot of the move. Where a mean reversion, to capture a massive mean reversion doesn't happen as much. But I could potentially build a mean reversion system on the live over the next couple of weeks. I do have an idea of what I would do. Okay, it's not letting me. There we go. Again, why is my thing being so slow today? NDX stream. Okay, come on, select it. Sod's law that it's struggling on the stream. Take your time. I think what I'll do is I'll close MetaTrader down just so it's not. Maybe that's one of the reasons. Shouldn't be, but yeah. Like for one of the mean reversion strategies that I did test recently, it was simply taking an area of interest and adding an ATR, like maybe a daily ATR value to it. So when prices went further than the daily average or daily ATR, then it would start to look at taking mean reversions. entries. Again, it's something that I've got to knuckle down on a little bit more. So yeah, this is super interesting that if you were trading this strategy in January and February, it has been struggling the past 2 years. Let's have a look, see if there's an actual entry area that's pretty good. Okay. 15. So we could take trades around that area, but I might be inclined to say we'll take trades only during. So you could say we're going to only take Asian session, not do European, and then we'll take the New York session. So we'll just compare sessions. This is really slow. Apologies. Oh my god. Everything's been working for the past couple hours perfectly fine. Alright. Maybe we're seeing a little bit better now. Come on. Right to there. Okay, let's see what we get. So interesting that we've only knocked out about 160 trades, meaning that most of the trades must come in the American session anyway. Have we cut anything off? No. So interesting that even when we do that, we've actually created an extra negative year. And interesting that 2025 really struggled with the strategy, and so far in 2026, it's struggling as well. Let me just build the Asian one, and we'll have a look at that. So go. Come on. Okay, so just trading the Asian session, we're not actually getting that many trades, only the 68. It obviously is not bad, but again, it's not enough trades for me to say, yeah, we're happy with the Asian session. Now, let's see what happens if we combine both Asia and this. Or what was the result actually if we just traded that? Why is this struggling so bad? Yeah, so down at 2025. That's not. Okay, interesting. So the Asian one done really well in 2025. 17%. So that means we've lost 17%. And then just the American session, we've lost 3. Okay, interesting. So if we just take away sort of London, come on. don't know if it's just my parallels not wanting to play ball today. Let this update. Right, okay. So what I'm going to look at is, yes, it's had a negative start to the year, but have we seen big dips like that before and a recovery? So we did in 2020. We see January -4, -1 point. So that was a big drawdown in 2020, but we still ended up positive. So we do, like, this sort of occurrence isn't actually the biggest drawdown that we've seen. The biggest drawdown 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11% drawdown in the first 4 months in 2020. But we can see that the rest was not too bad. So this is maybe, again, this is exactly why I would have this system risk in very low amounts. So then, yeah, we might be making, like, every sort of year's good, but what happens if this year's negative? That can happen in a system, and it will, that's sort of just part and parcel of trading. There is maybe a lot of stuff that we could add to this in terms of we might be able to look at sort of add some sort of volatility metrics. So we might say we're only trading this system when volatility is high, or we can again, we've not even looked at we just picked the 40 period because it gave the first result that looked pretty good. There's maybe some other things that we could do as well, that we could do, change the standard deviation or see if it's still good within this area, because I still don't know if this is a cherry picked sort of area. Rob trades, awesome, yeah. Just send them over, and we can potentially build them in the live stream over the next couple of weeks. It'd be cool. But again, this is not looking too bad. Days of the week sort of fine. What will be interesting to see is if there is a month that is severely sort of struggling, because the good thing with indices is there is some sort of seasonality to indices as well. So it'll be quite interesting, although there's nothing that's sort of staring in the face to me that anything's too bad. Like, we're going to potentially see this sort of distribution, as long as it's not like clear, like down 15, 20%, and it's one whole month that's really struggling. Like, this could change in 8 years' time. Again, we'll monitor this year in, year out. So if we see this year again, we've seen already February's negative. What will be interesting to see again this year is if April's negative and September's negative. And what we'll do is we'll keep these in mind. And then, like, if it keeps happening, then potentially there is rationality behind it, and then we can remove it. Or you can remove it now. It's up to you. Again, I think I said yesterday in the stream, what I'm trying to find out is what is optimization. Like, we know what it is, but at what point does it tip into the over optimization sort of area? So what I might do is I might actually remove these months and apply it to an account and see, okay, does this continually keep happening over the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? So what could be quite interesting is if we just switch it to April and September, it'll be interesting to see if this has all happened in 1 year or multiple years. Because if it's happened all in 1 year, it could just be a really bad year. But if it happens small increments every single year, then it's possible that maybe there is a problem. Again, this is going to take so long. So what was it, April? We'll have a look at April. If it wants to play ball. Maybe it doesn't. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negative years, and obviously struggling. We've had 3 good years. 1 year that really stood out, but apart from that, really not good. So the other one was September. So April was probably the worst month. So Interesting. Be interesting to apply February, April, and was it September? Was it? Yeah. What happens if we only trade those 3 months? Okay, that's not going to happen. Why are these not updated? Yeah, apologies about this in the stream today. I don't know why it's taking its time to update. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. I want this one. Okay, there we go. That's fine. Profile updates and the trade analysis. Trade analysis, come on. Okay, so really interesting that 2025, it held 2025 together. And this is why sometimes, like, when we're looking at it, it might look as if it's illogical to remove September. But sometimes removing months could potentially harm years as well. So if we were to take away, hypothetically, September, all these 3 months in 2025, it would struggle, which is why it's always interesting to see how the distribution of each sort of singular year or day do. So because it has positive years and it's not like every single year is negative, I'm not so inclined to get rid of it unless we just keep seeing that sort of cycle happening and repeating itself. Because we can get rid of that. We could increase the sort of return. Again, interesting though that it's not to trade in February, so that's still pretty good. Okay. 2020, 2025. I hate how this is not updating quickly, so I can't actually do analysis quickly. So 2025 doesn't actually change. Interesting. Very interesting. So maybe that is a change that we could make. How about this? Maybe this is what we'll do. I'll keep doing a little bit more analysis on this singular strategy on the NASDAQ. And what we can do is I can then see if without any of my filters, if it doesn't improve it or get me something that I really like, then maybe we apply this theory to the the charity Darwin and see, because again, it's only going to be risk in such a low amount. So the drawdown is going to go from like 13.47 to something ridiculously small, like 0.5% or 1%. So it's not as if it's going to damage it, but it means that it's still going to be interesting as like a documentation of what we've just went over today as well. So that's quite interesting. That could be quite interesting to do. Maybe what we could interestingly do as well is, how about we try on something different like DAX? I don't think it'll be great on the DAX, because the DAX is a little bit more, apart from the 2024, 2025, the DAX is pretty, it's got like as much as it does trend long term to the upside, it's quite a lot more like a whiplash sort of like asset to trade. So like it can be really good for breakouts. Like yesterday, if you took a breakout yesterday to the short side, which I did have a system that did do that pretty well. Yeah, it's well worth trading if you can find it. But again, it's one of those pairs that, or sorry, it's not a pair because it's not currency. It's one of those assets to trade that I find sometimes quite difficult. You can build systems on it, but most of them will be quite conservative. But yeah, so maybe that's what we should do. Sorry, I don't think this is going to work on this, but maybe we'll just increase the period so it's not taking too many trades. Again, this one's looking horrible. I wasn't expecting big things on this, I'm afraid, but hey ho. Yeah, so far not so good. What is the time? 5:15. Okay. We'll probably just finish testing, not this one, but we'll run another test on the DAX, and then we'll probably call it a day there for today. But again, I think we've actually been quite successful today in building the NASDAQ. So we know that the Bollinger Band breakout with the new sort of theory that I've applied works well in the NASDAQ, which is cool. It'll be cool to see how this system performs in a year from now. So then we can actually measure it and see, is it still behaving the same way as what it was? Because that is just a mess. Yeah, right. Let's have a quick look at it first and foremost. Yeah. We need this period to be a little bit longer. So maybe we do apply 103. Again, I would run an optimization to sort of find the area that could be good, but I don't know. Again, my computer is just not wanting to play ball today. So if I find anything, then I'll share it. So this should trade a lot less because we've increased the standard deviation, meaning that we've increased where the bands are. Again, this could actually act negatively in the fact that it's maybe moved too far away from the mean for a breakout to work on the DAX. Again, that can be quite interesting to reverse the rules and test it as well. So, that's something that's interesting as well. Any breakout strategy that you build, you can always just reverse the rules and test it as a mean reversion. I always find for a lot of the breakout strategies, it doesn't work in a mean reversion anyway, or it kind of lacks. But again, if you have a really bad result from a breakout, swap the rules and see if it actually works as a mean reversion. That's always possible as well. I don't actually have any sort of great mean reversions from a lot of the breakout testing. Again, it's because most mean reverting strategies, for the most part, will be negative risk reward or 1-to-1, because you really need to catch the market in such a sideways sort of move. For me personally, to actually get something that's going to get a good risk to reward. But again, that's based on my sort of testing, and I'm a breakout trader rather than a mean revert. So do with that what you want. There's probably people watching the stream today that are all mean reversion traders and are really good at it. So hats off to them. But I've just not found anything too great other than the obvious sort of pairs that people would trade for a mean reversion. But yeah. Okay. So 3 standard deviation is just it's not taking enough trades. Maybe the 2, but then 2 might take too much. But again, the 100 period might allow us to get into a lot more trades that might work out, but maybe not as well. But so far looking a bit better, which is good because the Bollinger Band should be a little bit flatter, so it is taking a breakout. But again, when markets are going down, it's not going to consider that. Or if we are sort of having a fake out or something like that, it's not going to take into consideration. But so far, this is looking not too bad. So maybe we might have two. If this continues to be good, then maybe we have two sort of areas, two sort of things I can start working on for the charity Darwin. Yeah, okay. Not bad, not the worst, not the best. 70% return, 1.35% profit factor, 250 trades, 10% drawdown. Okay, that's maybe something that we can work with. Yeah, that can be quite interesting. Again, I want to try and apply a few different things. Maybe look at timings or sessions. But yeah, maybe there's something that we can work with here. Again, this is running so slow now, he's even scrolling. Again, so this is what I'm on about. Like, remember how I said that using asking the bid above? So we can see that we've actually gapped up and got in the trade. Maybe we don't want to get involved when gaps happen. Again, gap happens here. But these are all things that I can then apply, and we can and then I can filter it out again. Again, we're in a gap here, loss. But then again, we're in a gap here and it wins. So I would need to see if when the trade enters after a gap, is it worthwhile taking? I think these gaps are really happening because, yeah. So the gap's really happening because the data is not got the full 24. So probably won't start seeing that until 2020 on the DAX with the Darwinex data, I don't think. Even that, it's still a bit. Yeah, so I would probably need to just download Duca's copy data for the DAX. I do have it on my other sort of account, but nothing great. Again, we can see that 22 to 3 still not exactly what we're wanting, but yeah. Let me just go to like 2022. Is that data changing? No, still in at 3. So 3 is really 1, and the 22 is 10. Unless that's correct. I don't know. I do have a system that trades the DAX, but I just don't know the trade hours because it isn't reliant on the trade now because it only trades the European like open sort of areas. So I've never really looked at the data for that because there's always data for the European sort of area. Afternoon, James. Afternoon. Unfortunately, you're joining us at the end of the session, I'm afraid. So, well worth watching back because, or even skipping to some of the parts because we did do something decent on the NASDAQ today. So yeah. Okay. I think we can call it a day at that. I'm pretty happy with what we've come across today. We've got something on the DAX that's potentially looking decent that we can work with, and we've got something on the NASDAQ that's working decent. And again, we did get pound yen to make new all-time highs as well by not over-optimizing, just basically only taking the breakouts if the continuation is going to happen. And again, the same sort of methodology does for this. So yeah. Anyway, thank you all for joining the stream today. I will then put this MQR5 file in the Discord for anyone that wants to take it or build upon it. I think it should be small enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. yeah, it's not quite within the thing for the it's not within the free version, I don't think, because it's only 10 blocks. Let me delete this. Yeah, it's within the 11 blocks, I'm afraid, so maybe that's not going to work out. How could I shorten this to get within the 10? Let me see if I can get it within the 10. I don't think I can. Once per bar. Maybe I can. I'll test something out. So once per bar, setting the values to 0. And then we'll go to here. Maybe that's what I'll do to get the free version, but I'm just going to send the file as is. If you don't have the free version, apologies. But yeah, I'll send the ex5 file anyway as well. So yeah, that'll do this for today, guys. But yeah, thank you very much for joining the stream. Hope some of you took value away from it. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Okay. Cheers, guys.